What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that's been highly anticipated, and that's Hellraiser on Hulu. Let's talk about it. So a little preface about this movie and what I think about the entire franchise as a whole, just to give you guys kind of a better understanding of what I enjoy and what I think of the franchise. One, Hellraiser is a franchise that I have continuously watched over the years. Now, not all the movies, of course, I enjoy. In fact, they got worse as they kind of went on. We even just did an entire audio podcast on the first two Hellraisers, which we both really still enjoy, even though we've seen them hundreds of times. Obviously, the franchise has seen better days. It's been through a lot of different hands, and there's been a lot of different iterations that haven't exactly worked. While some I can tolerate, a few that I love, and some that I'm just not fond of at all. And we now have a brand new Hellraiser many years forward, with different people. Is it any different? I can say without a doubt, I wholly enjoyed this entire movie. I think it was fantastic. This is a franchise that really needed the care and consideration that I think we finally got with David Bruckner and the writing staff and the cast and everyone that worked on this film. There is a lot of care that has been taken into this film, and it surprises me that Hulu, Fox, Disney didn't put this in the theater. It's almost insane to me. This is a movie that deserves every bit of the theater experience. And yes, I saw it in 4K, but it still should have gotten a theatrical release. So what is Hellraiser? And keep in mind, I'm not going to spoil anything here for you guys. I want you to have the best experience possible. So if you're already enticed and you want to see the movie, just go see it and come back, and then we can kind of finish this up. But I won't spoil anything for you guys. Like I said, I want you to enjoy it. With that said, the story of this is essentially about a girl who has an addiction problem, and her friends and her brother all get ensnarled into another Hellraiser version, another reboot of Hellraiser. Now, this is very different from the original 1 and 2. We just watched the original 2 movies, and we were saying that both of those movies feel like one whole movie, and I thought that it was going to be combining some of the 2 elements of the first 2, and I will say that I was right on that. It is definitely taking a step forward in a lot of ways. This almost feels like a sequel, even though it is a reboot. It feels like a sequel in some of the lore, while still presenting an absolutely new feel, sort of vibe, brand new Hellraiser, Pinhead, Cenobites. The look, the style, everything looks a little bit different. Jamie Clayton, who is the new Pinhead, is fantastic. There's a lot of great things to be had here. First of all, this is a movie that is directed by David Bruckner, who I have always raved about as being one of the people that did The Signal back in the day. And he's gone on to work on the Netflix movie called The Ritual, and also another movie called The Night House, all of which have done fantastic. We get writers Ben Collins, Luke Piotrowski, who both worked on Super Dark Times and The Night House, as well as David S. Goyer, who did Dark City, The Dark Knight. So to give you an idea, there's a good team working on this. And I think it was the right team, because this is a much more complex Hellraiser than we're normally used to. There is a lot of moving parts that are going on in this movie, and I think a lot more lore that is going on. Some changes that I think were absolutely fantastic changes that expand not only on the lore, but the suspense and the experience of the overall movie. I would definitely recommend, if you can, to watch the first 2 movies in the original franchise just to refresh on those movies, but you could watch this on its own and it will explain itself to you, but they do not fear jumping into some of the further out lore of the Hellraiser franchise. So if you've seen the trailer, you can see that the look of everything, these Cenobites look fantastic. There is a lot of detail in some of the pain that these things experience a lot of the pain the victims experience. Pinhead in general by Jamie Clayton is just so fantastic and indifferent in the characterization of Pinhead that is very close to the book, I would say, because of that indifference, which is a good thing. There is a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of really stylish camera work and artwork on the screen. There is just a lot for everyone, really. I mean, every type of fan of Hellraiser, I think, has something in this movie. And it's a 2-hour movie, so you can imagine this is kind of long, but if you're a Hellraiser fan, it's like, I'll take all I can, you know? It felt slightly longer than it needed to be, but I still think it overall worked for the movie and the pacing and everything in this movie. It's just, there is a very big story in this one movie that really kind of details a lot of information about the new lore, how these things affect the certain rule sets that they've added to the movie to give this movie some pop, because man, it's just about time. Finally, they get it right after all of these years. I am over the moon about it. This is literally one of the best movies I've seen all year long. The Cenobites have this sort of thing about them that is kind of creepy and just lingering, while some of the visuals that where they go to hell and everything like that are so updated and feel so modern, but not taking away from sort of the aesthetic that we are so used to with the Hellraiser franchise. There is a lot of balance in here. And the main star of the movie, who is played by Odessa Azion, I believe her name is. She plays the character Riley in this. I thought she did a really damn good job and really kind of complements the movie as well. The writing in this is actually way good, much better than I was expecting. It's kind of what Hellraiser needed, in my opinion, is to be taken seriously and someone actually write from a well thought out, well-written perspective, as well as giving the movie the perfect director, which I think David Bruckner is probably one of the best choices for it. He is just really good at what he's done. The acting and everything like that feels on par. It does feel pretty modern for some people that may turn them away a little bit, but I can't imagine people genuinely hating this movie. I think that if they do, then there's obviously some other issues going on that may play into it, and maybe that's because you're hanging on to the old Pinhead, or you just don't like some of the elements in it. I'm not even gonna touch upon any of the fucking controversy, because I don't think this is one of those movies. I think this is a movie that stands on its own. It is definitely well thought out. It is not pandering. It is actually a damn good movie. Overall, I would say this is a 9 out of 10 easily. This may be one of the top movies of the year for me. I am actually pretty impressed. It is exactly what I was hoping for. It's weird because in a way you could almost take this movie as a sequel in the lore department, and because it expands on everything so much, and it just makes you want to see more. It makes you crave more. There's a lot of extra stuff in this that I was really surprised by, that really is intriguing, and I'm really happy. I'm excited to see Hellraiser on the screen again. Very different things than I've seen in the entire franchise. The art style is just fantastic in this movie. Like, I'm blown away by what they did with the Cenobites. It's just good. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it already, I mean, definitely go see it. The only thing I would highly recommend is if you have the opportunity to at least watch the first two, just so you can kind of get an idea how it differs and how it's sort of combining the first two movies in a way, but also being its own thing. Yeah, I would highly recommend you see this movie. It should have been in a theater. It's definitely right there with the original. It really is that impressive. See it for yourself though. Let me know what you think. Did you see the movie? Did you enjoy the movie? Do you see the balance I'm talking about? Did you like the art style? Do you like the new Cenobites? Do you like the indifference of Hellraiser? Do you love Jamie's performance like me? Like, I would love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoy this review, we have way more on the way for Voidtober, so please stick around. Hit the bell notification so you know when I get a new video up. But other than that, thank you guys so much for coming by. And as always, long live the Void.